Good evening, everybody. Greetings and salutations from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm your guest, Patrick, and this is the Shizzy Whiz Nut. No, I hope everybody's doing wonderful tonight. I'm just chilling tonight, having a few drinks, and I just was, happened to be searching the news and saw that I don't know how many people actually remember this story. It was quite an interesting story about this homeless man, and I just figured I would play it so people could see it because being a veteran myself, I wasn't a war veteran, but I served my country, and there was multiple men that I served with and women that could have easily ended up in the same position as this. So I'm going to play this story, and I don't know how many of you have ever actually heard about it. It's a little bit of an old one, but it's quite interesting, and I thought it was worthwhile of sharing this. Just you'll see, you'll understand. So I'll bring this up.
So you're not wearing the glasses because you're Hollywood now?
No, man. I got an eye infection in my right eye.
But it's Johnny Bobbitt Jr.'s face and story that's gone viral, with thousands giving to the Good Samaritan after an honorable deed 2 months ago.
I was driving down 95 and ran out of gas. So I pulled over to the side of the road. He walked up and he said, "Get back in the car, lock the doors, I'll be back."
Kate McClure says she could tell the man walking up to her off the highway was homeless.
Got her gas to help her get back on her way. Wasn't expecting anything in return.
Me and my boyfriend Mark went back the next day.
So this is sort of a disappointing story if you really think about it, that this gentleman right here, you'll see,
He gave him $100.
I was ecstatic.
That gesture of helping stranded motorists is something Johnny has done countless times. How often?
Okay, but it goes deeper.
Would you go to see Johnny?
A few times a week.
Unknowingly, he was about to get hit with karma.
What if we started a GoFundMe for this guy? We set it up in the car on the way home.
You're going from zero, literally, to $300 and some odd thousand.
It's like winning the lottery.
Less than a week ago, Johnny was sleeping under a bridge. Today, he's been given what he calls a second chance.
I mean, of course, I want to change my life. I want to give a lot of it away.
Will you get a house?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get a place to live. There won't be no brand new car either.
No?
No, ma'am.
Used car?
Absolutely.
Maybe a truck?
Absolutely a truck.
And Johnny wants to say thank you to all the everyday people giving to him. In 2 weeks, they've received over $360,000 in donations. At one point, Johnny actually asked Kate and Mark, her boyfriend, to stop the fundraiser. They did that for 12 minutes, saying other people needed the money, but they received backlash from people who said, "No, I insist on donating."
Wow.
So you're going to see that this isn't all that it seems to be. It's nothing worse than actually being lied to over these kinds of things.
To Johnny. Now, they're also telling us that they've been speaking to a lawyer and a financial advisor about wise
smart
choices for this money and helping Johnny.
I love that he says he wants to pay it forward again with all of these donations.
And that's his first inclination is to pay it forward, not to buy.
Yeah, I don't know if you know where this story is about to go, but you're about to find out.
A home or to take care of his own needs.
Yeah.
But it's to give back.
He says that there are causes outside of homelessness that he also wants to give to, but
So, this is a feel-good story, of course. But the feel-good story gets much more interesting. So that was about 5 years ago. So here we move it forward, our timeline. Our timeline moves forward about a year. And this is where it gets interesting.
The lawyer for a homeless man whose kind act led to thousands of dollars in donations through an online fundraising campaign says it's all gone. According to the Philadelphia Inquirer, Johnny Bobbitt's attorney, Chris Fallon, learned that there wasn't any money left after speaking with the lawyers for the couple who launched the campaign. Bobbitt went viral last year after giving Kate McClure, a stranger, his last $20 to fill up her car after she ran out of gas. In a recent interview with the Philadelphia Inquirer, Bobbitt says the motorist, McClure, and her boyfriend, Mark D'Amico, started the GoFundMe to help him secure a home, raising $400,000. However, he claimed he had no access to the money. The couple said they bought Bobbitt a camper with some of the funds and parked it on land McClure's family owns. However, Bobbitt became homeless again after D'Amico told him in June he had to leave. According to WPVI, Bobbitt claims the couple used the money on trips, gambling, and shopping sprees. During a recent interview with Megyn Kelly today, the couple said they didn't want to give him the money because they were afraid he might use it for drugs. GoFundMe, meanwhile, is investigating the management of the money. D'Amico and McClure insist they did nothing wrong.
So this gets even more interesting as the story started to develop. So that was 4 years ago. I don't know if you've followed this, but it got a little bit further on, even further along than that particular story. Because what happened next is that gentleman just got it a little bit deeper, because Johnny Bobbitt was a little bit further in on this than just that. So within that same amount of time, Mr. Bobbitt got in trouble for this. I'll bring this up. It's just sad.
Evening of November 10th, 2017, Mark D'Amico, the boyfriend of Caitlin McClure, took a photograph of McClure and Johnny Bobbitt Jr., a homeless man, standing at the Girard Avenue exit ramp on Interstate 95 in Philadelphia. Within hours of taking this photo, McClure and D'Amico created a charitable campaign on the website GoFundMe.com with the title of Paying It Forward. The campaign featured a sympathetic tale of a homeless veteran, Johnny Bobbitt, who came to McClure's aid one night after she ran out of gas at that location with no money. The story, as it was told, had Bobbitt cautioning McClure to stay inside the car and lock the doors while he went to a gas station. There, he used what little money he had to purchase a can of gas and bring it back so McClure can get home safely. The photograph taken by D'Amico and posted by McClure quickly became the face of the fundraiser purportedly to benefit Bobbitt following this alleged selfless act. The Paying It Forward story that drove this fundraiser might seem too good to be true. Unfortunately, it was. The entire campaign was predicated on a lie. Less than an hour after their GoFundMe page went live, McClure, in a text exchange with a friend, stated that the story about Bobbitt assisting her was fake. Specifically, she wrote, "Okay, so wait, the gas part is completely made up. but the guy isn't. I had to make something up to make people feel bad. So shush about the made up stuff. She did not run out of gas on an I-95 off-ramp, and he did not spend his last $20 to help her. Rather, D'Amico, McClure, and Bobbitt conspired to pass off a fake, feel-good story that would compel donors to contribute to their cause. And it worked in a very big way, but it was
Are you getting the point?
fictitious and illegal, and there are consequences. My office has charged Mark D'Amico, Caitlin McClure, and Johnny Bobbitt Jr. with second-degree theft by deception and conspiracy to commit theft by deception. D'Amico and McClure surrendered last night here in Mount Holly and were released pending a December 24th court date. Bobbitt was taken into custody yesterday in Philadelphia, where he awaits an extradition hearing. The stated goal of this campaign, as expressed on the GoFundMe site, was to raise $10,000 to provide Bobbitt with, among other things, first and last month's rent at an apartment, a reliable vehicle, and 4 to 6 months worth of expenses.
So it's a noble cause. But people, fools, are easily parted with their money.
But this was an irresistibly heartwarming tale, and the trio's international media blitz to promote the fraudulent campaign convinced more than 14,000 donors to contribute a total of nearly $403,000 during last year's holiday season to help Johnny Bobbitt. We have been working with GoFundMe, which has provided its full cooperation to our office during our investigation. GoFundMe has informed me that in light of the charges announced today, it will be providing a full refund to all donors to the Paying It Forward campaign.
Which just happens to be lucky. Had it not reached the level of media attention that this did, how many more people would have gladly paid that money?
Now, the net proceeds generated by the GoFundMe campaign after fees amounted to more than $367,000, which was electronically deposited into accounts controlled by McClure. By his own estimate, Bobbitt received approximately $75,000 of the money from D'Amico and McClure.
$75,000. Now, if you feel like sending me money, you can send it via Bitcoin. Just leave a comment below, and I will happily post my Bitcoin address, and you're more than welcome to deposit money into my Bitcoin address. If you like what I'm doing. Seriously. I'll post it. If somebody says, "Hey, I'm interested in donating to you to basically feed your alcohol habit," I'll be more than happy to do that.
But he wanted his fair share of the take and initiated legal action in August 2018 when his Confederates refused to turn it over. By that point, though, the money was long gone.
Trust me, I will not use any money that you donate to me for anything other than selfish needs.
You'll see in the probable cause statement we provided, by the middle of March, D'Amico and McClure squandered the vast majority of the money contributed by donors who intended to help a homeless veteran. Among other,
they never intended to help a homeless veteran because this was the plan the whole time.
Other things, they bought a car, took trips, purchased high-end handbags, and hit the casinos hard.
I might buy some stuff, hit casinos. Not really. I'm not really into casinos. I do most of my gambling through the stock market because it's all a gamble. Buying, selling, it's all a gamble. It's best guess. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, because you got to know when to hold 'em. Know
Our
when to
Financial
fold
Crimes
'em.
Unit and High Tech Crimes Unit reviewed more than 60,000 text messages during the investigation, including thousands between McClure and D'Amico discussing the couple's financial woes, inability to pay bills, and mounting debts. During one exchange in March 2018, McClure lamented that the pair had less than $10,000 remaining from the donors to paying it forward.
Just easy come, easy go.
But D'Amico wasn't worried. He was certain the payday from the book deal they were pursuing would dwarf the money generated by the GoFundMe campaign. A few months later, when the dispute with Bobbitt became public, D'Amico was not dissuaded. Instead, he pitched a title for the book that would encompass the controversy, No Good Deed. Some might ask whether Bobbitt was an easy mark for D'Amico and McClure and wonder whether he understood that he was taking part in such a hustle. Let me say this about Johnny Bobbitt. He deserves our appreciation for his willingness to serve our country as a United States Marine, and he has our sympathy and concern for the homelessness he has experienced, as well as his publicized struggle with addiction.
And you will see that this still goes even deeper.
But it is imperative to keep in mind that he was fully complicit with this scheme to defraud contributors, promoting the campaign in multiple media appearances and posing with D'Amico and McClure for a Philadelphia Inquirer story in front of a gas station that he did not buy gas from.
Do you see what I mean?
The generosity of the individuals who were moved by Bobbitt's supposed good deed and their hope and belief that they could make a difference prompted them to send money in an effort to better his quality of life. But they were taken advantage of, and that is disappointing.
Okay.
Because this type of case can damage the psyche of the public. A case like this can make generous people skeptical and a little more hesitant to help someone else in need.
If you weren't hesitant already.
I urge you not to let that happen. There is a lot of hardship in the world, and it is commendable to show generosity to those in need. It is also appropriate to punish those who seek to evoke sympathy from others under false pretenses and then exploit the situation for financial gain. I advise those who are considering contributions to use caution and common sense when donating.
So that took a turn. Oh, but it gets deeper. It gets much, much deeper. Gets much, much deeper. Luckily, I just generally don't fall for these kinds of funky little scams. I like to just sort of back off from this kind of stuff and say, how much deeper can it go?
And a twist.
Because it gets a little deeper, as you will see. Just breaks my heart that people fall for this kind of stuff.
Just keep on coming, and a story that we have been following, a story everyone seems to be talking about these days. Today, authorities searched the home of a couple who ran a GoFundMe campaign for a homeless man, and then most of the money seemed to have disappeared. Our Cleve Bryan has been following this story from the very beginning. He joins us now live from Florence Township with the latest developments. Cleve.
Well, the couple accused of mismanaging Johnny Bobbitt's GoFundMe money did not obey a judge's order to turn over all remaining funds. And today we saw police raid their home and learn that a criminal investigation is underway.
Easy come, easy go. As police seize a BMW and remove bags of evidence from the home of a South Jersey couple accused of squandering hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of donations they received on behalf of a homeless Good Samaritan.
Miss McClure, where's the money? Where's the money for Johnny Bobbitt?
Caitlin McClure, who would not talk to us, met Johnny Bobbitt last fall when her car ran out of gas on Interstate 95 in Philadelphia. Bobbitt, who's a veteran, spent his last $20 buying her gas. As a thank you, she started a now-closed GoFundMe campaign for Bobbitt to help him get back on his feet. The story went viral and more than 14,000 people donated more than $400,000. 9 months later, Bobbitt's become homeless again and is reportedly in drug rehab. He's suing the couple for the rest of his money so they'll stop allegedly spending it on themselves. Last Thursday, their lawyer said that there was about $150,000 of GoFundMe money left, which they put in their own accounts. Judge Paula Dow ordered them to surrender the money, but they missed the deadline and relayed through their lawyer the money is all gone. Wednesday, she ordered them to testify under oath soon and turn over their financial records immediately, but their attorney says they plan to stay silent.
Your Honor, I just want to be clear for the record that my clients did in fact both tell me that they would like to assert their Fifth Amendment right and not produce any of this information.
Eyewitness News was first on the scene as the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office and Florence Township Police executed a search warrant and announced the start of a criminal investigation on Thursday. D'Amico seemed nonchalant, swinging a golf club as police raided his home. Both he and McClure left the property and returned during the day, but they wouldn't address allegations. They've defrauded a homeless veteran who spent his last $20 trying to help them.
Mr. D'Amico, will you answer our questions about Johnny Bobbitt's money? At this point, no arrests, no criminal charges. The depositions will be done in the couple's attorney's office on Monday.
So, as I said, it got deeper. It got more intense. Because that wasn't all that was going on. Because as you'll see, there's new things. Oh, I just had a wonderful little puppy join me. Apparently, some of my neighbors have decided to set off some fireworks. Yeah, my dogs don't do well with fireworks. So, listen to this.
You fucking did this. You fucking did this. Everything. You started the whole fucking thing. You did everything. I had no part in any of this. And I'm the one fucking taking the fall. My name is on that fucking shit. Because of you. Because of me listening to you. Okay?
Yeah, because you listen to me. See what happens to our lives.
Yeah, no shit. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I might be going to jail because of something that you said. Stop what?
You don't go to jail for lying on TV, you dumb bitch.
You heard what he said. If this turns into a criminal thing.
You don't go to jail for lying on TV.
But who made me lie on TV?
Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? I care. Who fucking wrote all this shit on GoFundMe?
Blame me then.
I am blaming you. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
You're blaming me? You're blaming me? You're blaming me?
No.
You're blaming me? You dumb fucking bitch. You're blaming me because a junkie? decided to start fucking bullshit?
Oh. So now we've got boyfriend, girlfriend, a little angry at each other. It's becoming very clear.
That's what you're falling for? You weak fucking bitch! You hear yourself? You're blaming me?
Yeah.
You're gonna let that fucking junkie come between us? You fucking weak slob! Look at yourself! Look at yourself! Grow a fucking pair of balls! You fucking pussy!
Oh. Might say there's some bad language in here. These are not words of me. We've still got another 3.5 minutes left of this.
You fucking despicable fucking pussy! You weak slug! That's what you're gonna do? Then fucking have fun by yourself. Dumb fucking bitch. You dumb fucking bitch. You fucking just sit there and you believe all the bullshit and you fucking let your mind eat at you and you're gonna fucking lose everything.
So I don't know who made this recording, but apparently it's her making the recording, trying to get him to implicate himself.
Because of it. You're so fucking stupid that you have the fucking balls to say that to me.
And just so you know, there are people like this every day that pull these kinds of scams. It's not just a one-off. But they wanted to make it viral. They wanted to make it rain. That's not the way to garner sympathy for somebody, to help somebody out.
Fucking so dumb and fucking weak. It's pathetic.
Eek.
You have anything to say to yourself? Huh?
I don't know what to say.
You need what to say. This is what I wanted to do my whole life. That's what you're thinking about? You're thinking about it?
Think of my what?
This is all my fault. I'm a bad person.
I didn't say you were a bad person.
It's all my fault.
Well, she's blaming him, though. So, who told who that it would be a good idea to try to scam some money out of people?
Oh, I got it. So you had no involvement in it. You had no fun when you were having fun. You didn't spend any money. You didn't beg me to buy a BMW.
Yeah, but you have to understand.
What do I have to understand? That you want none of the blame? I don't blame you for a fucking thing. But don't sit here and say like you're fucking some angel that just got drug along. And the fact that you fucking say it's my fault because you made it to me is fucking disgusting. Like, you're fucking pathetic. The fact that you're gonna let this fucking junkie fucking get in your head and beat you, you're fucking
Yeah,
slow.
but how many times have I said, like,
You're a slut.
can we watch it? Like, can you watch
You're a
it?
slut.
Stop. Like, let's stop.
Stop what?
The money.
Stop what? You bought Disney tickets when we had nothing left.
Oh, Disney tickets now, huh? So there's no money left, but she went and bought Disney tickets. Well, let's see how Disney does for her.
That was at the very end.
Okay, it was at the very end. When we had nothing left, so you needed Disney tickets.
I could pay back $1,000. That's not an issue.
$5,000.
On Disney tickets?
You want to know how much money you spent? Oh, just off the top of my head?
Go.
20,000 BMW.
Oh. So if this was 5 years ago that this actually happened, and just saying for the shits and giggles of it, it happened in 2022, like the very end of 2022, that it marked this as being 5 years ago. $2017. Is that right? That sound right?
5,000 Disney. 10,000 in bags. We both went to Vegas, right?
Oh, Vegas. That's a good way of washing off some money.
Huh? How much did you spend in Cali? 2,500. I broke even on that. I'll get 3,700. So just right there is 40,000. Now you want to talk about everything else? Like you act like you didn't spend $1. Stop it.
I'm not acting like that.
Stop it. Just stop it.
I'm not acting.
Stop it.
I never said that I didn't spend $1.
Stop it.
Oh, but you are, darling.
I never said that.
Later someday you have this fucking junkie fucking in your head. Fucking deep fucking slime. Fucking minnow.
So obviously, it's not a very happy relationship there. Very obviously, it's not a very happy relationship because it looks like this gentleman got in trouble also. Well, let's just see what kind of trouble Johnny Bobbitt got into. That would be interesting. And of course, it's freezing up on me.
Counsel, you may be seated.
And of course, it's going to lock up and freeze up on me.
Mr. Bobbitt, you as well. Thank you. State, New Jersey versus Johnny S. Bobbitt Jr. We're here on accusation 1903-264. Counsel, may I have your appearances, please. Testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir. Yes, sir. All right. You are here for sentencing today.
The charge being conspiracy to commit theft by deception, a second-degree crime. The contemplated plea, Judge, is for a 5-year period of special probation.
Now is your opportunity, sir. Anything you'd like me to be aware of?
No, sir.
All right. Well, in light of his prior criminal history, I do find aggravating factor 4.
So, of course, this gentleman was found, of course, guilty. But then we show, after another period of time, he's actually been released. So let's see where we're at with this.
Now at noon, the homeless veteran involved in an alleged GoFundMe scam that raised hundreds of thousands of dollars is getting out of jail while he awaits trial. But there are conditions for his release. Good afternoon. I'm Rahel Solomon. Johnny Bobbitt appeared before a Burlington County judge this morning. Alicia Nieves is live at the courthouse in Mount Holly now with the details. Alicia.
Rahel, you may recall just last Friday, prosecutors in this case actually filed a motion to try and detain Johnny Bobbitt Jr. without bail for his alleged role in this $400,000 GoFundMe scam. At the time, they said they thought he might be a flight risk. But as you mentioned, a completely different outcome in court today, and in part because prosecutors actually did a complete 180. Johnny Bobbitt Jr., the former homeless veteran accused of being part of a trio that concocted a Good Samaritan story and scammed thousands of people out of more than $400,000, walked into a Burlington County court today smiling as prosecutors announced they had reached an agreement with Bobbitt and his attorneys. That agreement to let him out of jail with no bail. Bobbitt, however, will have strict stipulations on the outside while he awaits trial if this case even goes to trial. Bobbitt will be required to report to the court system once a week. He is required to maintain sobriety and go to Narcotics Anonymous meetings 3 times a week. He is not allowed to have any contact with his 2 co-defendants in this fraud and conspiracy case, and he cannot get arrested again for anything else.
If you don't comply with the terms of your release, what could happen is that the prosecutor could file a motion to revoke your release. If that happened, we would have a hearing about that. I want to encourage you to please comply with those conditions because that is your best way for your own health and to resolve the charges that you have. You understand that, sir? Okay. Do you have any questions? All right. I wish you the best of luck.
So, of course, what exactly happened with Bobbitt after this? So, of course, he was able to probably keep himself out of trouble after all of this garbage. But let's find out.
Counsel, you may be seated. Mr. Bobbitt, you as well. Thank you. State New Jersey versus Johnny S. Bobbitt Jr. We're here on accusation 1903-264. Counsel, may I have your appearances, please. Testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. You are here for sentencing today.
The charge being conspiracy to commit theft by deception, a second-degree crime. The contemplated plea, Judge, is for a 5-year period of special probation.
Now is your opportunity, sir. Anything you'd like me to be aware of?
No, sir.
All right. Well, in light of his prior criminal history, I do find aggravating factor 4.
Oh, and of course, it has to switch over to something else because, well, that would just be too much to give us the rest of the story there. But I've got a 30-second clip that might shed a little bit of light on that. Oh, geez. It acts all so funky. So let's bring this up.
Homeless veteran accused in a GoFundMe scam that raised more than $400,000 is out of jail this morning. Prosecutors agreed to release Johnny Bobbitt Jr. while he awaits trial for his alleged role in that scam. He will live in his apartment in Philadelphia for the time being and be electronically monitored. Bobbitt's defense has indicated that drugs may have played a part in his role in the scam. They want to transition his case to a drug court for a more lenient outcome. Bobbitt returns to court in February.
So that's all I could actually find on this particular one. Now, had I dug a little bit deeper, I might have been able to find just a little bit more. But we've got a clip on what happened to the ones that set up the GoFundMe. Well, according to this, we've got the wonderful people that sort of perpetrated this, which would be this young lady here.
A New Jersey woman who pleaded guilty to helping her boyfriend spread a feel-good story about a homeless veteran that garnered more than $400,000 in online donations, has been sentenced to 3 years in prison on state theft charges. Burlington County prosecutors say Caitlin McClure, 32, wasn't present in the Mount Holly courtroom Friday because she's serving a 1-year federal term in the case. Her state prison term will run concurrently, and the former transportation department worker will be barred from ever working again as a New Jersey public employee. Prosecutors said McClure
Amazing.
and her then boyfriend, Mark D. Amico, came up with the Good Samaritan story in November 2017, claiming that homeless veteran Johnny Bobbitt Jr. had given his last $20 to McClure when her car ran out of gas on an interstate exit ramp in Philadelphia. The three conducted newspaper and television interviews and solicited donations, ostensibly to help Bobbitt through a GoFundMe campaign they named Paying It Forward. Prosecutors said the campaign raised more than $400,000 from about 14,000 donors in about a month, and at the time was the largest fraud perpetrated through the crowdfunding platform. Authorities began investigating after Bobbitt sued the couple, accusing them of not giving him the money. They eventually determined that all of the money was spent by March 2018, with large chunks spent by McClure and D. Amico on a recreational vehicle, a BMW, and trips to casinos in Las Vegas and New Jersey. D. Amico, 43, pleaded guilty in December 2019 and was sentenced to 5 years in state prison, a term also running concurrently with an earlier federal term. He and McClure have both been ordered to fully reimburse GoFundMe. Bobbitt was sentenced to probationary federal and state terms.
Police tell us that their latest murder.
So, it's amazing that that kind of crap happens. But it's not so amazing because it does happen. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you what happened to young Chicky Baby. So here we go. Mount Holly, New Jersey woman who pleaded guilty to helping her boyfriend spread that wonderful feel-good story about a homeless veteran that garnered more than 400,000 online donations, and she's been sentenced to 3 years in prison on state theft charges. 3 conducted newspaper and television interviews that solicited donations, ostensibly to help Bobbitt through a GoFundMe campaign they named Paying It Forward. Prosecutors said the campaign raised more than $400,000 from about 14,000 donors in about a month, and at the time, that was the largest fraud ever perpetrated through the crowdfunding platform. And now they're going to be paying it forward, every single one of them. They don't get away with this. But in case you hadn't noticed, a lot of what you see in the news tends to be for show. Don't believe me? Well, how about I share my next clip? For those of you that think that, people are able to basically play on the heartstrings to get you to subscribe to their little silliness, how about we watch this one? Oh, little bit of shouting match last night. I don't know if you were able to catch it. It actually happened before my stream. I just happened to be watching it. I didn't want to stream it, and I decided to go ahead and stream it. And it was because of this. They're having to pull them away. Well, you don't think that this isn't for show? You think he's coming back to confront? That's what I thought when I first saw it. But I just happened to not catch most of it. But it was because he was shouting things at Matt Gaetz and Boebert. Don't know what the exchange was about, but I guarantee you that it was for show. So whenever you see these kinds of stories, just know that a lot of it is for show. It is not that there's some big issue going on. A lot of it is nothing but that. It is nothing but for show. It's sad to see that that's the way that politics in your country is run. But today, what I decided to do is I was like, I think I would just like to show some nice calming pictures of France. Now, I had a different view of what France would look like. I was thinking, oh, France is going to be it's going to be ridiculous. It's not going to be that enjoyable. It's going to be just sort of insane, crazy, any number of things. I really had no idea what it was going to look like. And so I decided to, enjoy just a little bit of where we were going to be going. Like I said, it was insane to me to think that France being such a massive country, and I'm scrolling through some of these because I don't want to have pictures in there of my wife because, well, she probably would not appreciate it. So what I'll do is I'll bring these up and scroll through them because it was really interesting. If you're from the States, you land in a foreign country and you say, hey, what exactly do I have? What exactly is going on the other side of the world? Not quite the other side of the world. But we landed in France. Of course, this is the wonderful little place that we were hanging out at. As you'll see, this was my view every morning. And when I say every morning, I mean that was the view that I received every morning. Got these old, beautiful, gorgeous buildings and crazy animals. Just being able to get some of these shots seen, just random gardens that somebody's planting. And you say, well, this could be anywhere. But you look at the stonework and you look at these buildings, and these buildings have been around for a very, very long time. And imagine this is what you see when you get outside of France. These are the images that you will see if you step outside of the countryside. These are the kinds of things that you will see. You'll see buildings that are very, very old. It's quiet. It's peaceful. Not many people get to see that. And found these very interesting buildings that were basically abandoned. They've been abandoned for quite some time. Just a little bit of time and energy, and you could make that look absolutely wonderful. And in case you're wondering what that says, it basically says "do not enter." That's basically what that is saying. But that was my view. And if you're wondering, well, they're not very modern. Well, here you go. They've got a modern swimming pool. All you have to do is reseal it. I mean, this piece of property is probably for sale. I mean, these are just absolutely gorgeous pieces of architecture that you're just not going to find everywhere. And I found that just wandering through the countryside was the most lethargic and just chill. If you can find this kind of peace in the countryside of France, why couldn't you find something as gorgeous as this? And this is what a main road would look like. Just driving into the neighborhood of this cute little town. And you can see that they've strapped things up to keep them from falling down. These buildings are hundreds of years old. Hundreds of years old. If you've never seen, I think I've got a picture here of a nice little town. Here we go. We'll bring this one up. So this is one of the church bells that would be ringing, chiming for the clock. This is a view from one of the cities that I've visited, just chilling out, hanging back. You can see the sparrow up right up here. Let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. Maybe. Let's see. So, yeah, a sparrow decided to photobomb me at the time. But these were the kinds of things that we would see on a regular basis. Get these beautiful views. And inside of those beautiful views, you would end up with these places that were just in absolute ruins. And this little restaurant, which I'll show in a little bit here, it had these wonderful overlooks on it that were just amazing. And let's see if I can get to those. Give me just a second. So here's a view from that particular restaurant that I took a picture of a minute ago. So that was the view from just sitting down and eating dinner. And that, of course, was dinner. That right there is just a plain, simple salad. And it was, I would say, probably about 70, 75 degrees. Nothing spectacular, just a nice, easy, breezy day. But I've got a picture of what's called a hummingbird moth. And I'll bring that up here. This is a hummingbird moth. And I think I've got more pictures of them. So this is an actual moth that looks a little bit like a hummingbird. The way that it flutters in. I don't know if you can see that really well, but he's got this long, I can't remember the name of there's an actual name for it, but the wings move and it makes it look like he's a hummingbird, and he will just sit there and float right up on the spot with those wings just flapping like crazy, and then he'll be feeding off of those particular things, off of those flowers. If I'm not mistaken, those were lavender. Here's another picture of it. It looks really, really good. Those wings are just beating like crazy. So we took a little bit of a hot air balloon ride, which was really cool because, you know, these folks were pretty straight up, and they made sure that they were getting everything filled up as it should be. They would string out these big balloons and they would inflate them like so. Now they're doing this while the bucket's laying on its side, and they've got these massive jets. And let's see if I can go back and pull those massive jets up right there. But these pieces right here hooked up to a tank, and they fire those things up into the tank, and they start inflating them up. And as they inflate them up, this is what they start doing. They start rising. They will hold those things in place, as those things are getting nothing but hot air just blown into them. It gets crazy as it goes on because, you know, unbeknownst to you, that just happens to be really damn hot. They will fire that thing until it just starts lifting up. And of course, they've got cables that are holding these things to the ground because they don't want them, you know, lifting off without you. They want you to make sure that you're getting in there, and it does make quite a spectacle, as you can see. at these folks that are like amazed by seeing this kind of thing. So as you start getting up into the air, as you can see, that gets pretty crazy. You start getting up there, and I'm skipping over some of this because, you know, it's not necessary to really see it. It's multiple pictures taken from this basically the same perspective. But you turn around and you got these other balloons that are creeping up on you. They're slowly creeping up on you. Get to this. And some of them I've just got to go past because they really don't show anything. But you'll get a nice view of the countryside. And I've got plenty of pictures of this because it will get absolutely gorgeous. And in the height at this point is a little ways up there. It's not at the top of everything, but you're getting a good view. This might be, I don't know, a couple 100 feet off the ground. You're not up in the clouds or anything. It's actually a pretty calm day. But the views are just spectacular. Get things like this. Just a little more distance. You're looking at, you know, three small little townships, 4 little small townships, and all of these are just estates of some sort. I think this one in particular no, it's not this one, but there's another one a little bit later on. But you got the trebuchets right here off of this particular castle, which can be viewed. You know, it's quite interesting as we went through some of these areas. We were also able to lower this down. And we've got some distance here because where we're actually going is on the other side of this castle here. And I don't know if you can see them at this point, but there's some folks that are going to be up on this little cliff, and they're actually filming the this particular shot as we fly through this little township. And that's all this is. It's just a very small village. Nothing spectacular. It's pretty small. And we dipped it down just to get a little bit closer to the water. As we brought it in, we were feet from the water, just skimming the top of it, sort of letting it float in. And that castle we were looking at a minute ago from up high, we're actually sitting down below it. But they'll bring us back up here shortly. As you can see, we're rising back up to that castle. Got the trebuchets. And most of this castle has not been rebuilt for various numbers of reasons. And there's some folks, I still can't see them, but they're sitting on one of these outcroppings over here to the side, somewhere along here, that they're actually sort of hanging out. I think they're right over in here somewhere, but another view from that castle. But they've got these all set up in this particular area. You know, some of it's for show. I don't believe that they're using them. As you can see, there's little plaques on a lot of them. Oh, there they are. Let me go back. So these folks are sitting over here and they've been watching the hot air balloons just come rolling up into the area. But as you can see, we went from being below this just to rising back up above it. And they're having a wonderful time, trust me. I didn't catch them waving at us, but they waved at us and they took pictures and they were enjoying seeing us. So this little township right here, which wasn't very far from where we had actually initially taken off. You see that they've got different various implements of destruction there. And I guess we do make quite a spectacle rolling into this town. But it's not uncommon for them to see. But this is just a nice, easy afternoon. This is probably about an hour before sunset, so people are sort of kicking back and having their dinners. Got their pools. We've got another balloon that's sitting up higher than we were. We were actually at that height. They're just sort of following the same path that we are, not too far behind. And as we'll get over the village, and this wonderful old couple decided to start taking pictures, probably to get the balloons in the background because, well, that's quite interesting. I'll show you this dog that was acting crazy. It was pretty hilarious. He was pulling around large sticks that were much bigger than him. You can see on some of these pictures, you'll see that people are still having their dinners. Just absolute beautiful, beautiful fauna. So this pup right here, he jumped down, he's running along the top of this wall, and he is having the time of his life. You'll see him, jumps down, and he grabs a very large stick, and he tugs around on it for a while. But as you can see, somebody was having an aperitif. They were enjoying that. I believe that right there was the old couple that decided to come up and take some pictures because of the balloons. But they're just enjoying themselves and got this wonderful old lady that comes out just to enjoy watching these balloons come floating by. And of course, because I have a zoom camera, that wonderful old lady, she's in one of these buildings down here, but because I'm able to zoom in, I can get in a little bit closer. I believe that's the old couple that I was on a minute ago. So having a good zoom on your camera is very worthwhile if you are able to do it. And this dog, of course, was on the other side over here pulling on some things down on the other side of this. And he ran up here and then he ran back and he jumped up on the fence and he ran across the fence and just acting absolutely crazy. But yeah, there's just these views, and as you can see, we're setting up, probably about 100 feet above this, and a few hundred feet above the entire area. Just beautiful aerial views of all of the topography of France. Just absolutely gorgeous area. I couldn't enjoy anything much more beautiful, peaceful, seeing the folks in the other balloons and the views looked a lot like this. Just gorgeous to see. And of course, as we started getting through some of these smaller areas, people do enjoy coming out, seeing the balloons. And these are just like little suburbs of those villages that we're going by. They're a little bit further out in the country. And quiet, peaceful. If there was no sound, you would find yourself just completely relaxed. There's just unbelievable amount of quietness to the whole area. So we did happen to wedding crash, as you can see. They've got a nice wedding going on at this wonderful area over here. Some beautiful gardens. They've got it all set up. And not even 20 feet away, you got your cattle. And that's a shot back of the castle after we had already pretty much left that area. So and that's with me zooming in quite a bit, because if you would have seen what it looked like from where I was at without the zoom, this is what it looked like without the zoom. Unless you know where the castle is, you're not going to see it. But we did a little bit of meandering through that particular area. And like I said, a lot of these towns are just small and nondescript. And this is a big zoomed in picture. This is actually one of the larger towns, and this is the Loire Valley. So you'll notice by the actual bricks that are the stonework that's actually being used for these. And let's see if we can get some of these other pictures. So if you ever wonder what it looks like to look up inside the inside of a hot air balloon, that's what it looks like. And of course, because we are probably the most interesting thing that this guy has seen all day, he pulls over and takes some pictures. Because we're pretty low at this point. We'll actually start scraping in this area. We're coming up through this little valley, and we're going to start scraping over some tree branches here. So we're sitting about tree level down in that valley, and we'll start scraping over this particular area. And you'll hear them hitting the bottom of everything. And they always recommend keep your arms in, because you're just going to be slapping all the way across all of these. Now, where that gentleman was parked was around this corner, or actually back behind this particular area. He's down a little bit further. And we're going to be coming in for a landing in this area. Or so we thought. They actually wanted to move us to an area around the corner, and they brought it back up into some more little craggly rocks. And it's, like I said, this is absolutely beautiful countryside. The architecture is amazing. And this is another view from where the wedding party is. They're actually over here, so we've sort of circled around them. And a couple more times we'll come in and we'll be getting a little bit close. For whatever reason, the animals really go bonkers over the hot air balloons. They really don't like them, and they will let you know that they don't like you in the most interesting fashion. Now, also being up in these hot air balloons, it tends to get, you think that you're going to be pretty cold, but those burners that are firing up into that balloon itself, those things are quite toasty. Will make your head feel like it's on fire whenever you're 6 foot, like me. It tends to get a little toasty on the top of the head. A couple of times they would have that thing fire it up for a little bit longer, and I would have to duck my head down just because it would be so damn toasty. But just the scenery, the way that they've got it laid out, makes absolutely no sense. So this is a little hoop barn where they would do these hoops, and then they throw plastic over the top of it, and it turns it into a nice, gentle little greenhouse. So you get those greenhouses that are just absolutely. These would be grapes that they're growing on vines in these particular areas. So they'll grow these grapes up and just make wine. What else are you going to do in France but have wine? Some of these are also going to be, like, if I'm not mistaken, these in particular, if you look down here in this lower area over here, these are all black walnuts. And as you'll see, the green is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Wish I had music to go with this. And as you can see in the distance, that's the castle that we went by. Yeah, that's the castle right up here. So we've traveled a little bit. Not mistaken, we got called up. There were a couple of deer and a couple of fox. So there's a deer, and it will actually take off and run off into the woods here. And I believe we'll spot him coming up later, but you can see that he stops and actually looks up to see what we are. And we've got a few, I mean, these are nice. This is your average little villa. And you think that France is going to be really expensive, and it's really not as expensive as you would think. To own something like this, not very pricey. There's another angry animal. It's very mad at us. We will be coming up on our landing zone here pretty soon. As you can see that the sun is starting to set. And all of the balloons will be coming up over this hill. And we'll be scraping branches over these again. I thought that last one was it, but no, I was incorrect. This is actually where we start diving into the valley that we're going to be landing in. There's one of our guides that was helping us out. So these gentlemen were absolutely wonderful in getting us where we needed to be, getting us landed. getting us pulled in. And that was the end of the day. The only reason that we ended up having a day like that was the night before we were actually supposed to do one of these in the evening. The next day it was really foggy because the night before it rained. So the morning that that night it rained, and so they postponed it till the next morning. Next morning there was such a heavy fog that they canceled it, and they moved us up until the evening of this day. So we ended up getting a absolute beautiful day out of it, just doing a little easy float through the air and boom, land. But the architecture that you'll see in France is quite amazing. So this here, if I'm not mistaken, is actually like a train depot. Yes. So I can't speak French, but this is a very old train depot. And this is the whole area that you would be looking at. This is just a model of what it looks like. You'll see that they've got some really interesting architecture. You've got this, goes around this, and it's got a loop on it. Part of the top is missing. They've got lights on this particular building. But this is supposed to be one of the more well-known. It's sort of like the Grand Central Station of this particular area. And just the amazing detail that's been taken on for architecture on these is just amazing. So you've got your departure. But we also did some walking through these towns. And this is a particular style that they would do, and they would fill these things with basically plaster, concrete. And although it looks like it's off, it's just the way that the actual building looks. As you can see, it looks much straighter there. It's just the angle for the camera whenever you take the picture, it looks a little bit off. So this here, if I'm not mistaken, is a town surrounded by a castle. And this was just a regular shopping day for us, and we had gone into this particular area, and if I'm not mistaken, from where I'm looking at it, it's just basically a bunch of shops that are inside some castle walls. There's plenty of churches and architectures of such. So we've got some personal pictures here, but I'm not going to show those. We've got one of the places that we stayed at. I had these beautiful swans that were in the lake, just hanging out, chilling out. They're completely secluded and cut off from everybody else. And made my way into this wooded area that had this strange tower. And of course, ran across this. which was very interesting. So we asked, what exactly is that? Because not only did it have that, but he had all of these little markers. And what it is it's basically a type of bocce ball that's played. That's really it. It's almost like bocce ball. You're throwing it and you're getting markers in these particular areas. But unfortunately, the place that we were staying, because of all of the extensive lockdowns that they had all of these wonderful vegetable gardens. And these are just small vegetable gardens, but there was a restaurant associated with this. Now that particular restaurant, for whatever health code or something, basically had them locked down. This was where the restaurant was, but whenever we asked, they basically said that they were shut down. This was just part of the area where we were staying at. They had this nice little restaurant on the actual campus itself, or the area itself, and they were just, nice rooms, really interesting. But we stayed there for a few days and did a little bit of our traveling from this particular area, just in the area. So we had gone to one of their local markets, and of course they've got chickens and lots of food, lots of flowers. This was, as you can see, this is meat. All meat, cheeses, meats that have been cured and ready for sale. Lots of fresh vegetables, bouquets, 26 euros for a bouquet, 10 euros for those. Eggplants, cucumbers, and this is like going to your regular farmer's market. Everybody's really relaxed. Nobody's anxious. People are just moseying along. They've got wooden utensils for sale. Random dolls and figurines. They've got soaps. This was nothing but scented soaps, different kinds, different flavors, whatever your heart desired, they pretty much had there. And then, of course, what would any place be without some comic books? So I'm not sure if this is the particular day, but there's one of these rivers that we actually went down. There's quite a few of them in this particular area, like really, really beautiful rivers. I'm not sure if this is a particular day that we had done that, gone down through these rivers. But we did get places like this. It's wonderful, beautiful setup every single day. But this is your just your regular village that you would just be cruising around in. Nobody's really in a rush. Gorgeous architecture, things that are worn out or starting to wear out, but not as bad as you think. You've got moss and mold. It's just moss that's growing on the side of these buildings. Just this is what your almost every village that we went to outside of the actual buildings themselves, the makeup of them were quite different. And we'll see if I can pull up. It's this. It is this one. I wasn't sure. So this is one of the places that we had visited that had all of these. And this is a piece that had come off. And they basically would take these and restore them, make them look nice again. So it's these up here, these pieces that maybe over time and things, being old and decrepit would get damaged and they would end up replacing them. Unlike the bridge. As you can see, that's a bridge that went across at some point in time that no longer has the makings of a bridge. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the rivers that we did go down. So this particular, yes, if I'm not mistaken, this will be one of the rivers that we went down. This particular river on this side over here, down past this castle. But these are these were apartments here, which there's a specific name for. Basically, they would house people that were families of this particular garrison that might be here. These were where they lived underneath this area here. A lot of this that you're seeing with those windows as such, those are actually stairs that are circulating up. So you'd basically come in here and be going up some stairs, and you've got light that's coming in through all the sides, but you can see what is the original, what's been replaced, just over a period of time doing restorations on these. Level of disrepair on some of this, and a lot of times they're just doing like a type of plaster over the top of them to make them look much better. But that's how they roll there in France. We've got some more beautiful views. So these are taken from being up in that particular castle, and you're basically looking out, and you've got your, like, the opposite side of the river. Those beautiful gardens. If I'm not mistaken, this particular area was, yes, I think there's a thing here. We went up into this beautiful area, and what it was used for was for taking care of infirmed that had been injured in the war. I believe this was in World War One, that they were actually injured, and they brought them and turned this particular castle into a hospital. I've got some pictures of the inside of it, but it's not as interesting as you think. And I believe, yes. So we've got, and some of this is quite cheesy. You'll see that it's basically as you're walking through, you've got things roped off, and these particular areas just show you what it would look like at this particular time. I was very enthralled with the amount of burl that they had on a lot of these wooden pieces. The craftsmanship on them is absolutely amazing. You can see the burling on all that wood. That's just beautiful. See, some of those keys are damaged. Needs to be really fixed up and made whole again. Yeah, these are just absolutely gorgeous pieces. So those apartments I was talking about there, this is the other side of that building. And there's the river with that wonderful bridge that extends all the way across. And from a distance, it looks absolutely gorgeous. These are some actual little gardens that were growing up in here, and you actually would walk up in and go into some different portions of this for some gardens. Really beautiful stuff. And here's a little bit better view of those particular gardens. On this particular area that I'm showing here, see if I can get a good view of it. So this was used to bring carriages up in. They actually expanded it out. So this was an original portion of this area. And we're actually just stepping into it. But they bricked it all out, and the width of this is probably wide enough for a carriage, but not much more. And we're walking up and through that particular area to get up to this area to go into the gardens in the back area. And then we came around, and they actually had a little kind of fair festival here. And being around lunchtime, they were actually starting to serve some different kinds of French cuisine. But we moved up through the gardens and took a trip through just to see. But some of the more interesting parts of our adventures. And if we'd like to see some more of the French stuff, I'm more than happy to show that. All you got to do is ask. French people were very kind, very polite, very interested in Americans. And the best part is whenever you'd run into someone that was French, they would say, "Well, I don't speak English very well," and they would speak English better than some of the places here in Atlanta, Georgia. very good understanding. Some of the most polite people that you would ever hope to encounter. But also, if you gave them common courtesy, they would give you the same common courtesy back. I think they found it somewhat offensive, the use of the English language tends to be a little, some of it's hard to understand. It's almost better to speak on a third grade level in English to someone that's French. They, not all places, but they can understand it a little bit better. Just because some of the words that the English use or Americans use don't translate. So, like you walk into them and go, "What's up?" They'll probably go, "I don't understand what he said. Is he looking for ketchup? What? I don't understand." But anyhow, I figured I would just have a nice little chill stream. If you like what you're seeing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. I'll show some more of the French countryside. I'll show some more of a trip to England that my wife and I had, or I'll show some of Belize, which is really interesting if you want to see some real Mayan temples. It was quite a trip. I don't know how many of the dive pictures actually will turn out looking really well. They're pretty hard to see because of the filters. Oh, sorry. So it's one of those that if you like what I'm doing, hey, hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Especially if you want to throw me money, just leave a comment. I'll be happy to post up in my feed I'll just have to create a new one. What my Ethereum address is or Bitcoin address. I'm not able to get monetized currently because I don't have enough subscribers. So it's all about getting view count. If I get enough view count, I get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers. And that's sort of my goal by the end of the year, is hopefully get this channel monetized where I've got enough, regular viewers that are enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And if you don't like the content I'm putting out, let me know what was wrong with it. And I might just say, I don't care. No, seriously. If you don't like something that I put out, hey, just all you have to do is just let me know, and I'll see if I can find something that fits in a little bit better with my taste, your taste. If you're just like, hey, that was really interesting, then I can always upgrade some of the stuff that I'm doing. I won't be able to do it all, but I can make some of it look a little bit better. That's how it goes. But that, I think, was good enough for this evening. I'll show some more at a later time, whenever I'm not posting pictures of random strangers on the internet. But we hope that you find this interesting. And until the next time, which might be tomorrow, maybe the next day, who knows? I'm just enjoying showing off a little bit of places I've been, the things I've seen, the stupidity, the weird things that go on in my mind. And until the next time, peace, y'all. Have a wonderful night.
Exótica.